What should you put in a 24-hour bug-out bag? Today on Everyday Ready. Let me preface this by saying I use the term bug-out bag generally. Some people call it a bug-out bag and they mean I'm heading to the woods and I'm never coming back. That's not exactly what I mean. What I mean by a 24-hour bug-out bag is based on the maximum amount of time you plan to be away from home in a worst-case scenario. Pro tip here, if your worst-case plan is 24 hours, pack for 48. You need to begin this process by knowing your area of operation, and then considering the activities you'll be doing, your food and water needs, and potentially your emergency overnight stay needs. And then you build the contents of your 24-hour bag based on your 3 most likely scenarios. Go ahead and leave me a comment below with your top 10 absolutely necessary gear items, or maybe just the top 3 if you're short on time. My scenario that prompted this video is that I'm going on a day hike in the Black Hills of South Dakota during an upcoming vacation. It's rugged terrain and a lot of things could go wrong. My top 3 most probable scenarios are these. 1. Everything goes as planned. We hike and explore while there's daylight, and then we make it back to the vehicle safely before dark. Nothing goes wrong. 2. A sprained ankle or other tripping, slipping, or falling injury happens. The time necessary to exfil the area will be lengthened considerably. We might need to call for help and get a ride to an emergency room or back to our vehicle at a minimum. 3. A serious injury occurs, or a member of our party gets lost, or maybe severe weather moves in unexpectedly and we're forced to spend the night out in the elements. So what gear do we put in a 24-hour pack so that we can be prepared for those scenarios? I do think there's a lot of overlap here, but I'll pick gear based mainly on the worst case outcome. Serious injury, severe weather, unexpected overnight stay. You get the idea. So here we go. Food, water, first aid, shelter, like a hammock or a tarp, fire starter or a stove maybe, map, compass, or GPS, a knife, hiking poles, a jacket, extra pair of socks, paracord, flashlight, extra batteries. Now certainly there are a lot more things that could go wrong and there's a lot more gear you could carry with the idea of being prepared for anything and everything. But that's not very practical or realistic, and carrying all that extra weight will make your day trip a little less enjoyable. If you're going to be out for as much as 48 hours on a 24-hour trip, you'll want enough food. It's not going to be enjoyable, but it'll keep you alive. That could be just Cliff Bars or something like that, granola bars, or packaged food, something of that nature. Water could be a water bladder that's already in your pack. If you ration that, you could easily last for a couple of days on that water. But maybe consider carrying a small filter so that you could find a water source like a stream and filter water. You could also use the stove in this list to boil water, which would serve for decontaminating the water source. That might be good. First aid is a no-brainer. You want to take care of cuts and things like that. You want to wrap up sprained ankles. I like trekking poles because it helps me mitigate those sprained ankles in the first place. Extra pair of socks should be kind of a no-brainer. Okay, your feet might get wet, they might get cold. Taking care of your feet when your main mode of transportation is your feet is a very smart thing to do. I like a jacket, mainly just for the elements. Might get cold at night if you have to spend the night out. As far as shelter goes, I prefer a hammock. Gets me up off the ground. It's definitely not the most comfortable method out there, but something that gets me up off the ground, and then I take a small tarp along with it that I could cover over for rain protection. Just makes a lot of sense. A good knife will go a long, long ways. Now there are some very highly skilled woodsmen and women out there who would use just a knife and that's about it, and they could pretty much take care of all of their needs. Well, I'm not really that guy just yet. I have a lot to learn in order to be that guy, but a good knife goes with me everywhere I go. Of course, a flashlight so you can see in the dark, and some extra batteries for that. But here's the most important thing, I think, before I finish out this video. I think it's one of the most important things anyway. Make sure you let someone know where you're going prior to going. Leave them a map, pinpoint on the map, draw them like a trail. If you're going on some sort of an established trail or a wilderness area, let them know what your plan is and kind of a drop dead time frame. So if you don't show up after 24 hours, they call in the cavalry and they can send people to an exact area. If you don't let anybody know where you're going, it's going to be extremely difficult to find you, and the amount of time it takes for people to find you is going to be greatly increased. So I can't recommend that highly enough. And then just plan ahead. This little bit of gear and this little bit of pre-planning and preparation goes a long way to making you everyday ready for the adventures you choose and the emergencies you don't. Thanks for watching.